Hey everybody, so we are here in Riverfront Park in Millersburg, Pennsylvania. This is my mom's hometown. Figured I'd come out here. I was down in Dolphin and over in Fort Hunter Mansion Park to do a video. So I figured, and you have those people that are fun. But I figured I'd come down here and show you guys around a little bit, talk about the Millersburg Ferry. The Susquehanna is a lot higher than it normally is, so they didn't run this last weekend. They're hoping to start being able to run again, but they're not sure if they're going to be able to. And there was just a squirrely squirrel on this tree, but now I don't see him. Apparently he's camera shy, but I will turn this around. It's actually sort of cool. There's I believe it's a heron of some sort that's out there on all the wood there. Let me try to get this in close enough so you guys can see him. There you go. That's as close as this booger gets. And if I get any closer, which I'm a good ways off, he'll fly away. But up there, you can just barely see where some of those bushes are on the river. That's where the wall is, and you really can't see the wall right now because of how high the water is. But anyways, let me pull this back out. We will start pulling down through here. We'll wait here for a second to let people pass. This is so cool seeing nature right out here. Closing in our buddy again. He's looking for fishies. See if he decides to fly off. Yeah, grooming himself. Doing a little more grooming. He's like, I'm a handsome birdie. I'd like to see him fly off so you guys can see that, because they're actually rather large birds. I think it's like floating down through the stream there. Almost looks like a alligator. It's not, but it looks like it. Alright, let's get that wide up again, and then we'll head down the trail. We'll stop at they have a couple different signs that talk about the Millersburg Ferry, Susquehanna River a little bit, and then we'll check out the ferries. They actually have them tied up here near where they load and offload. It's just a pretty little walk through here along the Susquehanna River. You can definitely see why the Lenape would have said it was the muddy river, because it is certainly that right now. It's dirty. So here you guys can see to a degree where those bushes and that type of stuff, that's the wall that goes along. They call it the ferry wall. We'll out there a little further. That goes the whole way across the Susquehanna River, and that allows the water to be high enough so the ferries can actually go across. But right now it's so high, basically the ferry wall does nothing, and the pull and the current of the river would actually make it next to impossible for the ferry boats to actually get across safely. So I sort of doubt even by this weekend, unless it really, really lowers, that they'll be able to run yet again. But to go across to the town over there, which is Liverpool, Pennsylvania, on the other side of Susquehanna. So here you can see the two, I think the one's the Falcon and the other is the Roaring Bull. And you can actually see how they have to have them tied down over here to keep them from being flowed down the stream, but it's just way too high, because this is where they pick up cars and all that. Over there, they'll usually have the boats over there, and then this door will actually, if it's open or closed, will signal that they are ready for a pickup over here, because they watch over through there. That's a sign I would like to go and do, but unfortunately there's some people sitting there, so we'll have to get that one at another point. We'll go over to the signs over here and see what they have to say. Here's one of the signs here, Discover Millersburg. Shows sort of a place where Millersburg is. Millersburg's historic sites, natural setting, and seasonal activities offer something for every stage of life. Enjoy a sunset from Riverfront Park, or ride a ferry boat across the picturesque Susquehanna River, hike the trails of the Ned Smith Center for Nature and Art, or visit its galleries to learn more about Millersburg's most famous resident. Anchored in the past, the borough boasts 2 sites on the National Register of Historic Places. Yet even today, the honking of geese, passing of trains, and laughter of children skipping stones on a river help to make Millersburg a place known for its small town hospitality. A river in the bay. With a watershed of nearly 28,000 square miles, the Susquehanna River supplies the Chesapeake Bay with 50% of its fresh water, 24 billion gallons on a typical day. So here they have Millersburg Ferry. It's believed to be the last wooden double stern wheel paddle boats operating in the nation. In 2006, the Millersburg Ferry crossing was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places. Millersburg Ferry began service in 1817 and in 2011 transported 20,000 passengers. It is now owned and operated by the Millersburg Ferry Association. Millersburg Riverfront Park. In 1807, Daniel Miller set aside nearly 20 acres of land for public park space in his original plan for Millersburg. Today, his legacy is used by thousands of residents and visitors as Millersburg Riverfront Park, a gateway to Lycans Valley Rail Trail and site of the historic Millersburg Ferry. Ned Smith Center for Nature and Art. Founded in 1993, the Ned Smith Center for Nature and Art connects nature, people, and the arts while furthering the legacy of his namesake, wildlife artist, naturalist, and writer Ned Smith. Visit nedsmith.org, center.org for more information. Susquehanna water gaps. In 1968, recognizing the region's unique geologic heritage and natural beauty, the National Park Service officially designated 5 water gaps along the Susquehanna River from Liverpool south to Harrisburg as national natural landmarks. First 2 gaps are visible from here: Mohantongo Mountain to the north and Berry Mountain to the south. We'll go out and look at that then. Wickanisco Canal Heritage Site. Americans' early canals were essentially a water-based interstate transportation system, and the Wickanisco Canal was part of it. Beginning operations in 1848, it was connected Millersburg with the Pennsylvania Canal at Clark's Ferry. While the distance was barely more than 12 miles, it encompassed 7 locks, 3 aqueducts, 2 culverts, 1 dam, 5 waste weirs, and 18 bridges. And the Millersburg train station. Upon the station's opening in 1898, the Harrisburg Telegraph offered a vivid description of the new Queen Anne-style passenger station, a neat design with Hummelstown brownstone trimmings and ornamental stucco on the gables. Around it, the grounds included gardens with cover plants that spelled out Millersburg, ponds stocked with goldfish, and a baggage building perched on the hill. Swinging bridge, which we have gone across. The business district, which is the historic downtown district, includes quaint shops and eateries, hosts multiple annual festivals and events, and remains a vibrant center for culture and business. And they have a couple other things there: Market Square Veterans Park and Mayo Park, which is across the swinging bridge. So let's look at those 2. You have the Mohantongo Mountain to the north and Berry Mountain to the south. I would believe that is Berry Mountain over there. And to the north, I don't think we'll be able to see through the trees, but that would be the Mohantongo. That might actually be that right up over there behind the trees, but these are the water gaps. 2 of them right here in Millersburg, Pennsylvania. hopefully we're going to get down there as people will be off of the sign, so we can actually talk more about the actual historic Millersburg Ferry. We have to talk about a little bit here in Riverfront Park, but I'd like to talk specifically about that. But hopefully we're back, and if not, because there's still people sitting there to sign, then we'll return back and come back and do that at some point. But as always, I want to say thanks guys for coming along, and we'll see you all about town. So here's the sign I was talking about, Millersburg Ferry, a journey through time. Early history maps from the 1760s show the existence of early ferries in the Millersburg area. Daniel Miller reserved ferry rights for himself when he founded the town in 1807. Then in 1817, documents show that George Carson of Upper Paxton Township and Michael Crow from Cumberland County, now Perry County, negotiated for the use of Crow's Land as ferry landing. 19th century. In the early 1800s, the ferry boats were man-powered. Ferrymen either rowed or pulled skiffs transporting passengers or flatboats hauling freight across the mile-wide river. Then in 1826, the sheriff's sale transferred Daniel Miller's property or proprietary reserve and ferry rights to David Kramer. From there, the ferry passed to his sons George and Joseph. In the 1870s, Joseph Johnson purchased it and resold it to John Freck, who in turn sold it to Ramsey Moyer in 1880s. In 1873, the first steam-powered boat entered service. The Enterprise, at 12 feet wide and 60 feet long, was a side-wheeler, similar in design to the pointy boat. There you get to see an old picture of what they would have looked like. Due to the larger and heavier boat designs with the accompanying deeper boat drafts, the ferry wall was constructed to provide deeper water in the ferry channel. The wall consists of piled rocks and dirt retrieved from the river bottom. In 1890, Levi McConnell bought the ferry. Levi and his brother Richard had been operating another ferry in competition, so this purchase combined the operations. McConnell's made improvement to Crow's Landing on the west bank of the river by adding picnic tables, bathhouses, and a concession stand. Since the east side of the river contained raw sewage and coal mine drainage, the improved west side became a popular swimming and recreational area for local residents. Richard McConnell's interest was sold to H.M. Hayne in 1896 and then to Annie Miller and Pierce McConnell in 1898. Annie sold her share to Pierce in 1900, who sold it to John Travitz in 1904. In 1902, Levi McConnell sold his interest to George Seiler until 1906 when Warren Hunter purchased it. John Travitz sold his interest to Thomas Rattle in 1907. 20th century. In 1905, the first gasoline-powered boat, the Dinky boat, entered into service. As legend has it, in 1909, there was a race between a stern-wheeled coal dredge and a side-wheeled ferry boat. The coal dredge won, and the ferry then converted to stern-wheel propulsion. Under Hunter and Rattle's guidance, the Western Shore Recreation Area became Maple Grove Park. They constructed a bandstand for concerts and installed a water slide complete with water pumped to the top so swimmers could surf down the slide using a board and land in the river. There's another of the boats. In the 1920s, the first editions of the current boats, the Roaring Bull and Falcon, were launched. These stern wheel-powered wheel boats had a pilot house, a roof over the passenger deck, and a barge alongside to carry vehicles. The 1920s and 1930s was a golden era of the ferry system. As many as 4 boats were required to keep up with demand for service. The closest bridge is either 15 miles south or 30 miles to the north. The ferry stayed in the families of Hunter and Riddell until 1968 when it was sold to Bud and Robert Wallace and Jim Ziders. In 1972, Robert Wallace became the sole owner of the Millersburg Ferry. Modern day. In 1990, community banks of Millersburg purchased the ferry from Robert Wallace and gave it to Millersburg Community, which then formed the Millersburg Ferry Boat Association, a board of 9 members from various community organizations who oversee the seasonal operation of the boats while preserving their historical value for future generations. In 1998, Roaring Bull was rebuilt for the 5th time, and its gasoline engine was replaced with a diesel engine, and the paddle wheel was upgraded to a hydraulic drive. After 35 years of work, the ferry system finally achieved National Historic Register status in 2006, just prior to the Millersburg Bicentennial. The Ferry Boat Association is under the purview of the United States Coast Guard, and as such, the pilots and boats must be Coast Guard certified. The ferry transports nearly 20,000 passengers per year, including bicyclists and Amish buggies. Local lore has that celebrity passengers have included Thomas Jefferson, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. There's another one of these pictures of these boats, and that's Millersburg Ferry. Like I said, the two boats sitting there, a Roaring Bull and the Falcon. A lot of history here, folks. At some point we will, when the river goes down, we will ride the ferry boat to take you guys on that journey so you can see what it's like and experience the tranquility of a journey like this. And this is one of the few places, certainly the oldest in the U.S.